More people are paying tribute to the Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu. We now know that Brigalia Bam, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka and Trevor Manuel have all arrived at the home of the Arch, and we'll bring you those visuals as soon as we have them and have a conversation possibly with our reporter Atim Tongana, who is outside that home. But let's move then to this story. There's been an increase in road fatalities as holiday makers make their way to various destinations. But as the South African Weather Service warns of more rain, road conditions will be affected and incidents likely to rise. We now speak to Simon Zwane, who's the spokesperson for the Road Traffic Management Corporation, about what the national picture looks like at this point. Simon, thank you so much for your time. But I just want us to really start off at the issue of more fatalities that we are seeing on the country's roads. What is it looking like nationally? Do you have a national picture for us?
Yeah, we are consolidating the national picture. Remember, it's been a long weekend, so there may be reports that we have not yet received. So we're trying to consolidate that so that by tomorrow we'd have a more representative figure. But I must say we have seen a couple of major crashes in which 5 people have died in one incident over the past few days. But we'll consolidate a proper number to communicate in the beginning of the week.
Simon, we now see that an additional 4 people have died in Limpopo, specifically about an hour or so ago. And from when Ayanda Nyati, my colleague, had a conversation with the Limpopo Transport spokesperson earlier this morning on the AM report, he did mention, Mike Maringa mentioning, that human error is really often the cause of these incidents. Is this something that you are seeing as well as the RTMC?
Yes, we are seeing that in more than 85% of the crashes that have happened, human error has been a factor to blame. Human error here we're referring to reckless driving, driving under the influence of alcohol, excessive speed, overtaking where it is not safe to overtake, driving over the barrier lines. Those kinds of issues have led to a high number of fatalities this festive season.
Simon, you may have heard then in my intro around the issue of the South African Weather Service saying that motorists need to be cautious on the roads as there is plenty of rain throughout the country just for today. Just a reminder for us as to what motorists should really be cautious about when they are driving in the rain.
Yes, we are this morning seeing a high number of vehicles leaving the holiday spot, particularly on the coast. Some people have finished their Christmas holidays. They want to come back to Gauteng to have their New Year's holidays here, but there are still others going down. I can tell that in the Velga toll plaza, there have been 1,300 cars going down to the coast, and 1,200 are coming up. And it's predicted to be raining in the Free State, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and Limpopo. And we're urging people, therefore, to reduce the speed, try and travel around 100 or reduce the speed as much as possible, particularly when driving in rain. Resist the temptation to drive recklessly, and they must take regular stops. There are some where we've noticed who are driving without number plates, and we want to warn them that it is an offense to remove your number plates while traveling on the public road, and they will be dealt with if they are caught doing it.
Simon, are there still operations currently underway around, the festive season and roadblocks, those type of operations? Are they still underway?
There are operations currently underway. They are continuing. But in these rainy conditions, we will not have regular roadblocks, but we'll still monitor traffic to ensure that there are not many moving violations. So there are not many people driving at high speed or recklessly.
The reason I ask is, do you think that these kind of roadblocks and these operations that take place around specifically the festive season, do you think they're actually effective for whatever reason that you guys then have these? We do know that we have often seen that, unroadworthy vehicles are pulled aside. But besides that, do you think that these are actually extremely effective because people often know where exactly the roadblocks could possibly be taking place at this time of the year?
We think that they are effective. We would be sitting in a worse situation if we didn't have the kind of law enforcement that we have. Up to now, there have been about 3,000 people arrested, amongst other things, for drinking and driving at excessive speeds, and other offenses. So without roadblocks, those people would not be detected. There have been 2,000 vehicles taken off the road because they were unroadworthy, and others have been impounded, same number, about 2,300 impounded. So we think that it is effective. Without the law enforcement, those cars would have probably have caused more mayhem on the road. They would have caused more disaster in terms of crashes and accidents.
We've often seen that minibus taxis are actually part of the accidents, that they sometimes cause the accidents or they are the other vehicle in some of the accidents that we've seen on the roads. What has been the caution sent out to minibus taxi drivers and really for those that actually drive a large number of people into various provinces, so including the buses?
Yeah, there have been quite a number of taxis involved in crashes. But interestingly for this year, when those taxis were involved in collisions, they would have had 2 or 3 people on board, and they were colliding with sedans and small vehicles that were fully packed with passengers. So instances where we've had 6, 8 people dying, they've been dying from small vehicles compared to the taxis. But they would have collided with taxis. In some cases in the Western Cape, for instance, there would have been a tire burst on a polo, and then it loses control and goes into the oncoming taxi, and a crash occurred like that. So there have been a number of those instances like that where small vehicles are colliding with taxis, and many people are dying who are traveling in the small vehicles.
I mean, Simon, now you've just mentioned the issue of overloading their cars, people that are overloading their cars, and also the issue of now this tire burst. This then speaks to people needing to make sure that their cars are roadworthy to be traveling long distance, especially checking your tires and oil and such things before you take a long drive.
Yeah, and those people who know that their vehicles are not really in the fit and proper state to be on the road have been traveling at night. You can see that there is an intention there to evade detection from law enforcement. So we've been all over the place, but the honest truth is that we can't be at every kilometer of road. So there have been some people who have been escaping the network and the law enforcement network that was put in place because they've been traveling early hours of the morning, beyond the curfew times, some of the times, and in that way, they later got involved in crashes. But we are monitoring the roads. We have the SAPS helping us. We have all provincial traffic departments and municipal traffic departments working to ensure that the roads are safe for the people.
And then just your final words, really. I mean, we heard from the Minister, Begitele, saying that it is still the festive season and we are expecting more people to be traveling either outside of Gauteng into other provinces or really coming back into Gauteng. Just then your final words to motorists as they drive this particular weekend or this particular week, and also for those that will be leaving Gauteng, especially in this rainy weather.
Yeah, those are driving in this rainy weather. We really urge them to take it easy on the road, reduce the speed, and take regular rest stops. It's tiring to drive in the rain, so fatigue will take over. So they must take regular rest stops. And those who will be traveling later on, we urge them to really plan their trips. Plan to travel when visibility is clear during the day, and to ensure that they can evade whatever happenings on the road. But we're urging also people to avoid using these alternatives. Those who are traveling from Durban or to Durban from Gauteng, please don't use the R103, especially at night. There are too many potholes on that road. It's better to remain on the N3. It's smooth, has no problems with that.
Simon Zwane, spokesperson for the Road Traffic Management Corporation. Thank you so much for your time this morning. And he was just really giving us details around, how many people have died on the country's roads. But he is saying that there isn't a number at this point in time. And because of it is the long weekend, so should have those figures by tomorrow. And really just urging more South Africans to be driving safely to ensure that you arrive alive.